Hey, 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 it's me, Monica Henderson, and we are getting ready to dive into our show for the day. It is time for us to dive into building a brand that sells. So that's this week's theme for the show. And to help me with the show, I have my co-host holding it down for me, Andrea Gewirtz. She is a wellness thrive strategist for well-being and worth. She is also a Mink Life Motivation Master Trainer and the Dean of Mink Life University. Hey girl, hey!
Hey, good morning and good afternoon and good evening, Adeel. Sorry.
Awesome. And we have also, as one of our co-hosts, she is a owner and photographer at Headshots by Peggy. She is also a headshot strategist and the Mink Life Motivation Trainer for the Brand Builder. And that is my girl, Peggy McCartha. Oh, yeah. And last but not least, in these boxes today, we have our guest co-host, Adeel Alim, who is a business consultant and a founder of Easily, a coach to coaches, and a sleep coffee drinker, which we're going to get into in a second. Welcome, Adeel, to the show.
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on wherever you are. Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So welcome. And the last co-host is you. You at home, you are also our co-host. We want you to be a part of this experience with us. So feel free to put #live, drop your comments in, let us know you're there. And if you do that, we will actually add your comments to the show so you can be famous as well from your couch without having to do hair and makeup. Sound good? Sound good. So let's dive into this coffee story. How are you a sleep coffee drinker? Please share.
So it's like, I don't know why, but usually when I drink coffee, I feel so sleepy. And it's been a number of times that I kind of slept while drinking coffee. So usually when I'm drinking coffee, especially in the afternoon and in the evening, it happens that I feel so sleepy that I think I've tried this, that especially at times when I'm finding it difficult to sleep, I always drink coffee and then I go to bed, and I think there is some connection. So that's why it's the sleepy coffee drinker thing.
That's really interesting. It sounds like you need to talk to my friend Andrea. There's some going on there.
That's hilarious.
That was interesting.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, when the guests come on, I ask them for a fun fact. And I don't know the story, but when that came across as the fun fact, I was like, okay, so I don't even know where that story is going to go. But that is really, really interesting. And definitely, like Peggy said, you should probably talk to Andrea. There might be some intolerances there. Some caffeine resistance. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. Well, it's my job to keep this show on its rails and to keep us flying in the right direction. So it is time for us to get motivated. And to help us get motivated, we have the question for this week's show. And the question is, how are brand materials essential for marketing your brand? To kick this off, I'm going to go with one of our current co-hosts to give Adeel a little time to think about the question. So, Andrea, would you like to go first on this question?
I don't know why I'm going first.
You want Peggy to go first? Peggy can go first.
But you know what? I'm going to go first so she can really elucidate what should be said. Let me go. This is not my area of expertise. I want to go because I'm not the expert. How about that? So, how are brand materials essential to marketing your brand? Well, the obvious answer that I'm going to go for really quick, sorry, Adeel, is the fact that your brand materials are there to attract your preferred, your desired client, your ideal client. And so they are essential because how will people know where you are, or who you are, what you are, and what you're doing? So, having some time to think about who you would like to work with, right? And having brand materials that do that are really like hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And that's my short answer to the topic that I'm least versed in. So now it's time for Peggy to give an answer, or Adeel, because of course Peggy is the expert, so she should probably go next to you, Monica. Just saying.
All right. Well, we'll do that. Adeel, what about you?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. No worries. Well, in my opinion, brand materials are essential because they kind of create the identity for your brand. So they are things that actually becomes something that people can recognize you with. I mean, if I immediately ask you, think think of McDonald's, what comes to your mind?
The
That's
Can you?
artist. The
Yeah, that
the
art.
artist. Yeah.
Yeah. Or think of Apple. What comes to your mind? Is it the fruit or is it the phone or laptop or what comes to your mind now? Now these are the things that are kind of that are your identity, but it become your identity because of the materials that you've used. So for any business, I mean, even your visiting card, your logo, your website, these are the things that are those materials, and these are the essentials because these are those in a way physical touch points where your business kind of start communicating with your ideal client or with your potential prospect. So I think this is something like, in a way, if you can think of a brick and mortar store, this is the kind of the place and everything for your business. So that the same thing is for the brand. So how your logo is, what colors you're using, what how your website looks like. So these are all the things that creates that identity for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, Peggy, what about you?
So first of all, I just want to bask in the glow of being dubbed the expert in this. So hold on, give me a moment. All right. So I agree with everything that's been said, and I think that it's all about how do you want your clients to feel when they see you, and that's done with color, that's done with emotions, and it's the whole package. Obviously, my big thing is how your headshot plays in your marketing, because your headshot is oftentimes your first impression. And the emotion, you don't just need a pretty smiley picture, that's great for grandma, but you need something that's going to attract your potential clients. And you do that by researching who your potential clients are, what attracts them. Do they need to know you're trustworthy? Do they need to know that you're knowledgeable? Do they need to know that you're effective? What is it they need to know about you? And then you portray that through your colors, because subconsciously we are affected by color, we're affected by smell, we're affected by all of these things. And so you need to really understand the psychology and become an amateur psychologist and really pick the brains of how you can use all these things to your advantage to really attract the clients that you need. And having consistency, even if you have different programs that may be a different color or something, you need to have that thread of consistency so they immediately know, oh, this is you, this is a sublet of this, and okay, I can trust them because of this. So you always need that consistency so that you're easily recognizable.
So 100% facts. And so most of the time when we have these conversations about branding, I look to my unofficial mentor, Walt Disney. Walt Disney is not just a theme park, or it's not just a movie, or it's not just a thing, but it's an experience. And your brand materials are the actual layering of those things that help people create an experience. So like when Adeel and Peggy were talking about, like, it's an emotion and all of those things kind of connect with that, I think of the real life visual, effects of how Disney does that through taking this cartoon and turning it into a life experience in a park, and then turning it into a life experience on a platform for consuming video content, right? So they have taken their experience and not just had it in one place, but had it in multiples. And that, to me, came through that full experience of having your brand materials all kind of come together to support that full experience all the way through. If you get a receipt from Disney, if you get a If you get a bag from Disney, you know you had a Disney product because their brand materials are all of those things. So this, I'm getting goosebumps from this conversation. I feel like we are on a roll and we are popping here. So we want to help. We want to kind of help you stay inspired. And my favorite part of the show is my favorite part of the show is all about helping people understand that the entrepreneur's journey is not like an easy peasy, like I just showed up and I'm fabulous this way. But all of us have our own journey, and it's typically a windy road as opposed to a straight and narrow road. And so when we have a guest on, we love for the guest to get an opportunity to actually share, to help you stay inspired. So to help us, understand his journey, Adeel is going to share his journey with in becoming an entrepreneur. And Adeel, do you mind sharing just a few moments of what that was like when you decided to be the founder of your business?
Sure. Well, I always say that, 4 years ago, I decided that 9 to 5 was not enough for me, and I think I made for 24. And that's how my entrepreneurial journey got started. So, but anyways, I think it was always there because, being an entrepreneur, or it's more, for me, it's more about having that opportunity where you are creating solutions, solving problems. And this is something what I consider as my why when I'm doing stuff. So even my decisions uh, to to whenever, even when I was working in the corporate sector, for me the job was more about solving problem and creating solutions. But it's always one step ahead when you are doing something of your own. So 7 years down the line, I thought maybe it's time, that I think I like I said, I wanted to build something of my own, and I wanted to solve problems. So that's how I actually, with a friend, we co-founded a digital consulting and software company. And we started working with companies over here in Pakistan, and we turned it into a 6 to 7 figure business in next 3 years. So that's how it got started. But I think it was always there. And when pandemic happened last year, it gave me the opportunity to interact and network globally, and that's when I met so many coaches and consultants, and I saw that they're really amazing at what they do, but they do struggle with the business side of it. And I've been doing this for the last 10 years. So I thought that, hey, there's this opportunity, and that's how this whole easily started. And the concept too was that how you can make doing business easy by having those processes and systems there. So that's a short story about my journey and how I started and how it has been.
Yeah, I love that so so many times the pandemic is a part of the story when we have people do the entrepreneur's journey, and I love that you found an opportunity to take what you are already doing well, and apply it to people who really are out here trying to change lives. So thank you so much for sharing that story. Andrea, did you want to share your thoughts on Adeel's story?
I Hi, Adeel. I know we met. You're here. We're here. Like Mink Life is here because of the pandemic. So it's one of those, like Monica says, reaffirming things that while the pandemic has been horrifying and terrible and decimating lots of different people, there's been this creative thing, like urge and creativity to build a business, creativity to make art, creativity, whatever. So just that's a reaffirming thing that even as far away as Pakistan, that these things are happening, because far too often our media focuses on all the things that are wrong. So I am overjoyed to hear one more thing that is right. So thank you. And congratulations to you.
Peggy?
And I think for me, I've been a professional photographer for over 33 years, and business was the thing that I put last. I concentrated on my talent, my art, my, all of that stuff. But it wasn't until a few years ago that I was like, oh, do I have a business? Like, I get that this is the only thing I do to bring money in, but is it actually a business? I never treated it like a business. So having people that can kind of grab you by the nape of your neck and say, hey, this is you're a business. This isn't a hobby. You want this, you want to make money, you want to do something and impact lots of people, not just the 5 in your neighborhood. This should be a business, not a hobby. And so I love that that's basically what you're doing, is like, hey, let's develop the business. You've got the talent. That's great. You got the talent. Now let's make it a business. And that to me is intriguing.
Oh yeah, it's really inspiring to someone like me who fundamentally feels as though that there are a lot of people who have some like greatness to bring into the world, and they're really good at the part that they're good at, but the industry has failed a lot of us in saying, oh, well, if you have a talent, just ask people to pay for it. And then next thing you know, you have a business. And that's not the case. And so having another ally in that fight to help people really understand that there is a foundational principle that you have to have in your business in order for it to be successful, so that you can spend your time actually doing the part that you love is just what, I'm overjoyed by and super excited that I'm a high five you. I
think
other way. There we go.
Okay. Here.
There we go.
Cheaters.
Yeah, but it's like it's so refreshing to have a coach who is not talking about like, you can make a 10-figure business next month if you just follow my principles, but more like, hey, let's really dive into those foundational pieces of what makes what you do a business, so that you can spend the time really sharing your craft. And so love that about you. Was so excited to have you on the show, just to be able to showcase another awesome person like that. And can't wait for people to be able to hang out with you from our community and get a chance to hear how your strategies are to helping people get to the next level in their business. So excited. Obviously, the show must stay on the rails. So we are going to keep networking. And we're going to do that because I'm going to ask another question, because we have these experts here. And y'all need to help me answer this question. As in Mink Life Motivation, we always talk about networking is not just about reaching out to people and saying, hey, buy my services, but it's also about understanding who can you go to when you need to ask for help. And I got 3 awesome people here with me who can help you with this. And we're going to answer the question. So why is understanding your clients' contact points so important when choosing your brand materials? I'm going to start with Adeel this time, as you are our guest. So why are the even contact points even a thing when we're choosing our brand materials?
Well, it is because, I mean, it's not just about simply a transaction where you're selling something and the other person is there and waiting for you to buy from you. I mean, you have competition and everything, so it's beyond that now. It's more about what sort of experience you are now giving to your client or your potential client. So that's the reason why these contact points, or let's call it touch points, they become very important. I mean, you need to know how you are affecting and impacting their journey of doing business with you. Is it convenient? I mean, we've all been there where we've been on a website, let's say, and if the process of buying a product is long or is not clear, we've left that and we haven't bought anything from there. And hence the reason why places like Amazon, they just try to make sure that you can get stuff either from just 1 click or 2 click, or they think about reducing the click. So that's the contact point. So whatever your business is, you need to see where your customer is interacting with your business, and that's how you need to understand. And when you are devising that identity, I mean, that's going to communicate with your client that what your brand messaging is about. I mean, are you somebody who is going to provide or a luxurious experience, or is it more about convenience, or what sort of thing? So that is what you can communicate when you are implementing all these things at these contact points. So that's where, and that's how your client get the experience of your brand. So that's why you need to understand. That's why it all begins with, I mean, who you really are, what kind of experience you want to provide, and who is your ideal client. And then understanding of them will give you an idea that what is their preference. I mean, you can have somebody who probably needs an experience which is save time. But if you are going to put them and go through, get more and more information, you're going to lose them. So having this understanding will help you understand that whatever material, whatever identity you are using or experience you are giving, it has to be according to them. So yeah, that's why it is important to have an understanding of the experience your client is having at these contact points.
Exactly. Peggy, did you want to chime in on that?
I do. Because I got the questions moments before we started, I've been thinking on this, and I'm like, networking should be about building relationships, not about buy my stuff. And I think a lot of times people get this idea that, I just got to meet people so they can buy my stuff. But when you go at it as, hey, I want to get to know you. How can I communicate with you? How can I help you? Then it's a mutually beneficial thing because they're buying your product, but your product is helping them, and you're offering it to them in that point of view. So contact points now, there's, everybody has their place where their go-to, Merrick uses email. I didn't know people still used email, but he does. He reads his emails. So if I want to get him something that's important that I need him to do, I email it to him. Why? Because that's convenient for him. Monica uses Workplace. I didn't ever use Workplace, but I know that if I need to get a hold of Monica, that's the best place I can get a hold of her. Andrea, I can pick up the phone and call Andrea. She'll actually answer. So, knowing that and being present and understanding that it's not about me, it's how can I be convenient for you, I think really expands in your business, your personal, and everything. When you really think about, hey, if I'm all these places, then these people are going to be able to effectively get a hold of me, and I can help them. Not I can sell to them, I can help them. And I think that's the key, is how can you effectively help your potential clients?
Yes. I get to help them.
There you go.
Yes. All right, Andrea.
So true. So Peggy said kind of what I was going to say, because it's absolutely key. I mean, in that planning of your brand and all the things that you're doing, how are you connecting? I love that you brought it to connecting, Peggy, with your client and serving them in the way that Monica says that Walt Disney does, like the Disney experience is the Disney experience. And so it is crucial that your brand materials represent you, if it's in Workplace or if it's on your, how do you represent somebody on your phone? But you know what I'm saying, like you're texting or however you're communicating with your clients is really something you should, to Adeel's point, really know and then serve at a high level, whatever way it is that they want to be spoken to. So it's absolutely about that. And I love the reminder, Peggy, of when you're out networking, that connection that you're offering is one that you truly will connect through and with. Like that is so key, and that is also part of your brand. I mean, we're all kind of branding all the time now because we're so in this rememberable space. It's not like, see ya, I'm not going to see you anymore. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I can pull up that thing she sent me. And it's like the reminder. So was it good or was it bad? So it's really important that you know what all those touch points look like as they go out. And they represent you. I love that you brought it back to that they really do connect with you, Adeel, in a way that people are affirmed when they look at your material versus pissed off, right? Like you said, the website that you couldn't pay. Well, you're never going back because you're like, that's so frustrating, and it's a real thing. So I'm glad you brought that point up.
Absolutely. So our co-hosts on the couch have chimed in and said, yes, Peggy, connection is crucial. I still read emails too. And that's from Yo. And our other co-host on the couch said, yes, Peggy, communication is key. And those are all facts. What is really interesting about client contact points is a lot of the times when we're thinking about our brand materials, we don't even consider where the contact points are. A lot of the times we start at like, okay, I know I got to put stuff on social media. I know I need a website. I know I need a business card. And we don't think about how our clients are going to interact with us in all the many ways that they're going to interact with us. So when we go to buy products to have those contact points, we're buying things that make no sense. I don't know about you, but how many of you have been in a networking event and you got a random object with someone's like business information on it, and you're like, I will never use this, like ever, ever. And it didn't have anything to do with their business, and it didn't have anything to do with anything you would have used. But it was in a gift bag with all the other crap that other people had put as their branding items.
Oh,
right?
I'm like, oh, back in the day, promotional items.
Yes, yeah. And so what's funny is I've literally everything in my house at this point has some brand on it from one of these networking events, because I network so often that I've never had to buy a pen. I've never had to buy a glass, a mug, a water bottle. I've never had to buy sheets of paper, those kinds of things, because they get used in our house quite a bit. And those were thoughtful. My client is probably going to use those things. But the shades that have the company's name on it, never going to wear those. The crazy, crazy chain with the logo on the end of it, never going to use that, right? It was cute. It was novel. It was interesting. The clip clacker thing, never going to use that. Even those, the little stress balls, those get thrown in a drawer, the junk drawer, and it never gets used. So when you're thinking about even investing your time, money, and energy into what you're going to put your brand on in order to share with your clients, it's super crucial for you to actually think about how they're going to use that and how it's going to be beneficial to them. So like how Adeel said, your website, and making sure that that's like all the contact points along that way are done very well. And all of those things, also considering how people are going to interact with you with those brand materials in order to kind of create that relationship that we were all talking about right now. And that relationship can be a long one if you are, thinking of your customer and you're thinking of how they're going to use this in their lives. And it's not just the cool thing that you think is fun, but also when you're planning those things, when you're talking to your branding experts, right? When you're talking to your web designer, when you're talking to your headshot strategist, when you're talking to your social media marketer, by you understanding how your clients are interacting with your brand, then you can give them better instructions on how to create that material for you. And last week we talked about business processes. You can shorten your business processes when you're talking to them, because you say, hey, listen, this information, this is the graphic that I want, and it needs to go not only on a social media post, but it needs to be a banner on my LinkedIn, and it needs to be a email signature, and it needs to be a this, and it needs to be a that. And they can spend the time at one time, and it becomes substantially cheaper for you than for you to go back and have to add all of these different marketing materials for all the different platforms and all the different places. And I needed a vector for a t-shirt, and I needed for a logo for my polo, and I needed on a mug, right? Like all of those things. It's really important to understand how you're going to put those marketing materials together so that you can ask once and pay once instead of asking this many times and paying that many times. So that's my 2 cents on this. I'm going to keep this party rolling as we are moving right along in the show. And so now it's time to gain knowledge. And the question that we are all going to be answering today on gaining knowledge is, I want you to share one tip, because it's so important for us to not just come and talk about business, but to actually give something that people can take away. So what is one tip that is essential to building a brand that sells. And we will start with our guest and just one tip.
Yeah. So one tip that I would like to give, that it always starts from you. It's inside out process. It's never outside in. So even when we are talking about client contact points and everything, but you need to first start from who you really are, and you knowing that and communicating that begins the whole process. So having that understanding and starting your process from there. I mean, for me, that's the question I say that one should ask even when they are starting the business, that who they really are and why they are doing it. And from there, they can plug in all the branding things, even marketing, and even what is it that they are going to offer. But the core question or the beginning point for this is starting from who you really are and what is it that or why is it you are doing. So yeah, that's one tip that I want to give.
Awesome. Peggy, what about you?
One tip. I think my one tip would be your own client. Like, look at it from your client's perspective. Like Monica was saying, would my clients wear these cheesy glasses? Is this something that's going to be effective for them? Um, are they're going to see this cool graphic? Can they click on it and actually contact me? What happens after they see this cool graphic and they love it? What's the next step? Like, take yourself out of your business and put yourself in your client's shoes and walk through the whole experience and see how you feel. How does the colors, how does the everything make you feel when you open up a Facebook and you're like, oh, that's the same banner that was on LinkedIn. That's the same banner on the website. I am definitely in the right place. Are you easy to contact? Are you easy to send a payment to? All of these things, and just walk through it and make sure that you're doing what you intend to do with your branding.
Andrea?
I love both of those points, and they're really important. And I'm going to add the feeling part to this equation, and I'm going to say that in your branding materials, I think it's really important to have enthusiasm and transparency. Like, I feel like when people look, like Peggy says, are you going through the process? Do they get where they need to go? Is it easy? Is there ease in recognition that you're in the right place? I love that consistency everywhere. And that you're consistently, like, it sounds corny, but like enthusiastic and inviting. Like there's something that brings people to the process and makes them want to connect with you. So that's going to be my overarching, the feeling aspect, not a per se mechanical, but definitely that your brand has that, oh, I want to touch it kind of thing going on.
And I would say is don't afraid to be you. My biggest strength so far in my business has been that I am a quirky, professional, not professional person. And all of my brand materials say exactly that. Like, we're professional, but we're fun. And that is how I want to live my life. And I try to push that through my brand materials. And other people who do that as well in their brand materials, I've noticed I resonate more with their brand when it feels intrinsically like them, even when their picture is not there. So I would say make sure that it's authentically you. And even if you're having a team of people to put these things together, if you don't feel it, then keep having the conversation until you do, so that when your brand represents you, when you show up, people say, oh, yeah, no, that was congruent to what I saw graphically to who this person is. So I would say definitely don't be afraid to be you and lean into your own voice in that branding space. So, guys, we have made it to the end of the show, and it is time for our announcements. Oh, yeah. So, as our guest, Adeel, you get to go first and let us know how we can get in touch with you, how can we connect with you, and what do you have to offer the community?
I think you guys are streaming this live on Facebook. So I'm very active there. You can connect. I can share my details and contact details over there. And I've just finished a 30-day challenge, which I was doing on how to creating video content. But I'm coming up again with another challenge, hopefully in September. So I think I'll share more details of that to you so that you can share in your community. But feel free to reach out.
Awesome. And Andrea, what about you? What's going on with you? What are your announcements?
Well, it's open. Woo! So there's been a restructuring on my side. And so I just started a new public group because I really want to engage with people at large. And I'm going to be talking in there in a little bit, as soon as this is over, probably in an hour. The new group is called Weight Loss and Wellness, a 360-degree approach to thrive. I'm a big believer in there's many roads to wellness, and I know that weight loss is always on people's minds, and I really want to change that to being about wellness, and then the weight loss will automatically happen. So please join me there. I don't have the link because I'm woefully unprepared, but it's easy to Google. You will find it, and there it is. So please join us. I can't wait to have you in that group, in that community, as we talk about ways to truly thrive. So I'm very excited it's open.
Peggy?
Oh, that's awesome. I always love finding out what everybody else is doing. Like, yes. So I am full on with the Headshot Strategist program, helping entrepreneurs really focus and get that branding down and bring out the emotions and the things they need to attract their potential clientele using the headshot that they're going to use anyway. So, and I'm offering those via Zoom. I'm doing it 3 times a week. I also have one-on-ones, but it's more fun in a group because kind of get to bounce ideas off of each other. And it always grows when you have more than one person in there. People bring up things you forget to ask. So that is going on. You can find out information on that at headshotsbypeggy.com. You can find me on Facebook at headshotsbypeggy.com. You can find me on Instagram at, you got it, headshotsbypeggy. So I'm all over the place. Look me up and give me a call, and I look forward to hanging out with you.
Awesome. And last but not least, the announcements for our community courses and conferences is coming up. And what I do every day now is go on live to let you know what's happening in our world. But today I want to highlight what is next. And that's because it is time to level up, yo. The conferences are happening in Los Angeles, Sydney, Johannesburg, and in London. Those are the dates right there. And feel free to check out our new website. If you are a speaker, we are looking for you. Our applications are open now so that you can be a part of the next global virtual conference in one of those territories. Lots of stage for you to share your wealth. Please, 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 please join us. And for the day, our quote of the day is: branding is not just your business card, but it is or a website. It's a lifestyle. And that is so important for you to understand as we finish up the show. That's right, guys. It is that time for us to say goodbye. But before we go, I want to give special thanks to my co-host Peggy, Andrea, and also Adeel, and also all of the promotional shots were done by Headshots by Peggy. So holla at your girl if you need some. But remember, you have the power to activate the vision within. It is time for us to go. Please, 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 if you enjoyed the show today, please share, like, post, comment, and our co-hosts on the side have dropped in a statement. I'm sorry, still working out the kinks here. Great show from Yo. Thank you, Yo, so much. We will see you right here next week, where we will be talking about presentations, and not just the little tiny, I'm going to be on this box and talking to a bunch of people, presentations, all the way down to your elevator pitch. Adeel, it was such a pleasure having you here. I can't wait to have you on the show again. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, bye.